day 7 of our 30-day series on human-centered leadership. That's the new June series for 2026. All week, we have been exploring the foundational truth. And pillar 1, the week 1, was you are the author. You are the author of your leadership story. Yesterday, as a weekend edition on Saturday, we wrapped up the week talking about the confidence, how it can help you to anchor your vision, your values as an individual person into the corporate landscape, and how to survive it within that chaotic infrastructure. Today, on Sunday, day 7, I want to take a step towards the data. Data doesn't lie. We know it all, right? I want to look at the numbers. The human-centered confidence cannot be built on wishful thinking. And I mentioned that yesterday. It has to be grounded in reality. And right now, the reality of corporate leadership is facing a real massive crisis. Years ago, in his brilliant book, The Art of Engagement, author Jim Houdan pointed out a staggering piece of data originally uncovered by Stephen Covey. He revealed that only 36% of employees believe their leaders act with honesty and integrity. Think about that for a moment. Nearly 2/3 of the workforce wakes up every day completely doubting the motives of yours, the words, the integrity of you, people who are running the company. Because the leader is not only an employee, leader is a partner, leader is the co-owner of the organization. That's another level of responsibility that leaders are quite often forgetting about. But again, think about this. 36% of employees believe their leaders act with honesty and integrity. And at the same time, our social media are bombarded about leadership, authenticity, leadership, integrity, leadership, human-centered focus. You may say these data are old. Okay, the modern leadership breakdown. Let's pause on it a bit. It's easy to look at the data and think, well, that's an old static. Surely, in today's modern, transparent workplace, we fix this. Pause for a moment. Can you define what does it mean, transparent workplace? The truth? The data tells us it has actually gotten worse. The leadership crisis hasn't gone away, it has evolved. The recent global workplace data shows a devastating breakdown on both sides of the desk. Right now, a staggering 77% of organizations openly admit they are currently facing a critical leadership gap. I think in other video, maybe in a part of the New Week series, I think I've shared that last year, Gartner report was showing up 76% of leadership is failing. And I don't know if there or at another video, I question how it's possible if we are spending around 400 billion US dollars on an annual base for the leadership development. Another report, and this one I think it was from Gallup, has shown that exactly the same amount is lost in productivity. That's the equation. You spend 400 billion for leadership development and you lose 400 billion in organizational productivity. Let's move on. We ended with 77% of organizations openly admit that they are currently facing a critical leadership gap. Yes, and there is a huge gap. And we don't need to be alpha and omega to see it. And right in line with that, 77% of employees flat out say that modern leadership is completely broken. It is broken because it's commercialized. And unfortunately, a simple person, an employee, whom you say is the most important asset in your organization, is paying for these famous, brilliant words. Why is this happening? Because the trust deficit has deepened. Gartner's latest workplace tracking shows that only 48% of employees trust senior leadership. Mark that. 48% of employees trust senior leadership. Maybe it's a good to do the review in your own organization or even if you're in your own team. But there's even worse. A massive 68% of employees feel that the corporate executives actively mislead them. When we are talking about corporate executives actively misleading them, it comes to my mind the vision. I think about a vision and the communication around the vision. I was talking even last week on the series New Week, the Monday Kickstart Leadership. Executives are speaking about the vision in a very high level industrial jargon that employees do not understand. So if you are wondering why you are having this kind of issues, that can be one of them. Communication is not the only problem that you should be focusing on. What Covey calls it, low trust tax. When trust is so low, everything in your company takes longer and everything costs more. Decisions are over-analyzed, execution stalls, and engagement plummets. And you remember at the beginning, we were talking 36% of employees that they are trusting their leaders. If we are looking at that subject collectively from the organizational aspect, I don't know how about you, but I worked in organizations that were spreading big words. Unfortunately, those words meant nothing. Let's move on into more human-centered corner. The empathy pivot. Here is the twist. And this is why we need to change how we look at this. This breakdown isn't happening because managers are inherently bad people. And if you know me, if you're watching my videos, I said that several times. There are not bad managers. There are not bad people. There are people with different personalities. There are people with different background. And all of us had our own leaders who shaped us. We might not be even aware that their authority shaped us in that particular way, that we can be classified into the group of bad leaders. Gallup data reveals that 82% of leaders feel totally unprepared of their responsibilities. 82% of leaders feel totally unprepared for their responsibilities. Here we go. Where the $400 billion is going since we spent on the leadership development? This is such a disappointing data, 82%. It's only 18% from 100. Moving on, leaders are being tossed into rapid structural shifts, economic pressures, and massive AI integrations with completely outdated playbooks. I would add here, wrongly designed playbooks. Playbooks that are designed for the commercial product to be sold, but not to serve leaders who can later on serve the people and altogether can serve the organizational goals. And yesterday we talked about the confidence. That's one of the parts. We think that the confidence is only when we are having a rooster type chest and we are walking proudly on the street. It's not only about that, especially in the leadership role. If you try to project false confidence without transparency, you create a dangerous disconnect. When a leader acts like they have all the answers while the ship is shaking, employees don't see the strength. And you are undervaluing the employees actually. Employees are more real, are more authentic than leaders with 10 bullet points of their achievements. We were just talking about 2-3 critical datas. Let us turn now the lens on you. You are the author. This is exactly why You are so incredibly important right now. The data prove that the old style of macro leadership, the top-down corporate vision, is failing. The current data also reveals a beautiful silver lining. Trust has become localized. Employees are pulling trust away from abstract corporate brands and they are investing it entirely into their immediate human-centered leaders. And considering right now globally, we are going through really interesting and regionally challenging dynamics. People look at you and you are their safe anchor. People are looking for a leader who shields them from the corporate noise. They are looking for a leader who says, I don't have all the answers about tomorrow, but I'm going to be honest with you today. Back to you. When you choose to step up as the author of your leadership story, you stop accepting the broken 77% of statistics. We know the practice, we know the drill. You are still the author of your own path of leadership. If you follow the noise, you will be one of them. If you keep your mind sharp and focus on the human-centered leadership, on your people and how they can develop within the organization, how they can support that particular goals of the organization, you are a superstar. At the same time, you decide to write a different narrative for your immediate team. You may question right now, okay, how can I do it? How can I make the difference? By choosing radical transparency. I'm lost too. I don't know what is happening. I will figure it out. By actively listening. Tell me more. And by matching your actions to your words. Let's look ahead. When a human-centered leader takes ownership of the script, the impact is profound. People feel safe. When they feel safe, they engage. And when they engage, they perform. As we close this week one of being the author of your own leadership journey, I leave you with this question. Are you writing a story based on the corporate control, or are you authoring a culture of genuine human trust? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about how we rewrite these numbers together. And tomorrow we kick off week 2 with a brand new theme, Pillar 2. I will reveal it to you tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me and see you tomorrow.